As Kendrick continues to kick off his tour with GNX, it looks like the producers involved with the album have spoke with Variety. Looks like they were able to speak to the producers that worked on the album, ask them a few questions. We have Soundwave, Jack Antonoff, and Mustard. Perspectives from three of the producers that worked on the album. They give us a good insight about the album. And right on time before Kendrick Lamar's tour kicks back up. So let's go ahead and take a look and see exactly what they said in regards to GNX, because from what I'm hearing, GNX has existed longer than we thought. Says here that Jack Antonoff, Mustard, and Soundwave reflect on the years-long production process for Kendrick Lamar's GNX. We developed our own thing. The trio has been collectively named Variety Hitmakers Producers of the Year. The musicians speak on how they approached crafting the massive hit records on Lamar's sixth album. In November 2024, Kendrick Lamar's sixth album, GNX, arrived as big records often do these days, with little warning other than a teaser video that dropped less than an hour before the surprise release. But for those under the rapper's cone of silence, for the past 3 years, GNX was a culmination of hard work and collaboration that met the moment head on. Lamar, fresh from arguably the most profile beef in hip-hop history, the one with Drake that reached a fever pitch last year, delivered an album that invoked the sounds of West Coast rap music while re-entering the national spotlight on his native Compton. The reaction was nothing short of rapturous. He has secured 9 Grammy nominations for 2026, including Album of the Year and Song and Record of the Year, and performed at the Super Bowl last February, taking a victory lap on the biggest stage in the world. And that is crazy. They just said that they've been working on this album for 3 years, which is crazy because of all the lyrics that have been used, all the lyrics that have been said. It's hard to tell what has been out for a long time and what was just made, because I think timestamps on the records that we're listening to matter, especially because of how well most of the lyrics from GNX have aged. From the things that I've heard in this album, it's almost like if he made this album recently. My initial perspective was that he made GNX after the beef. Lamar, of course, couldn't have done it without his musical hive mind, primarily Soundwave, Jack Antonoff, and Mustard, who are collectively being honored as Variety Hitmakers Producers of the Year. Each has had stellar runs as titans in different corners of music. Soundwave has been Lamar's most consistent production collaborator since 2009 and contributed to records from Taylor Swift and Beyonce. Antonoff only recently came into Kendrick Lamar's orbit, but has become Pop's go-to collaborator on albums from Sabrina Carpenter, Lana Del Rey. Mustard brought the sound of contemporary LA hip-hop to records like Lamar's Not Like Us and TV Off after years of architecting the style and artists like YG and Ty Dolla $ign. So Mustard, as we know, is the person that had the real big West Coast influence in his sound. And of course, we have Soundwave, been around since the very beginning, has done songs for all of TDE, Kendrick Lamar, Black Hippie, one of the OG producers from TDE. Soundwave always knows what he's doing, and his sound has always been universal to me. And as far as Jack goes, bro, as far as I know, 616 in LA is probably the best song that he's created during the time of the battle and throughout everything else that he's helped Kendrick with. I think he's also helped him with Luther, if I'm not mistaken. But I like 616 in LA better. That's just me. I like the rap songs more. Together, they helped craft one of the most singular and impactful rap albums in years. Work on GNX began almost immediately after the release of Lamar's 2022 album, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, with the rapper collaborating closely with Soundwave and Antonoff, a pair who first connected around 2015 for Bleacher's sophomore album, Gone Now. We have such a specific language between us, me and Soundwave, says Antonoff, and then we developed our own thing, the three of us. You have it or you don't with people. When you have it, it's really magical. When you don't, you go home. Now, I think what's interesting about this is because in the other paragraph, it said that Soundwave had did something with Taylor Swift and Beyonce. Antonoff works close with Taylor Swift, so I could see them being producers that worked with the same artists and getting connected that way, and then building a relationship in where they're able to make beats together or probably work together, network, and then later on comes Kendrick Lamar. It kind of makes you think, when Taylor Swift was mentioned in this beef, was it because they knew the inside connection that they had with one of her producers? I mean, this guy is working with Taylor Swift, Sabrina Carpenter. His beats are probably heard all over the radio, all over the Billboard, the Top 100. But who knows? I'm just guessing here. I know Taylor Swift was brought up for multiple reasons, but could this be one of them? Y'all could tell me in the comments. The trio spent years toiling on what Soundwave estimates was somewhere between 80 and 100 songs, later pared down to the dozen that made GNX. They would snag batches of time in the studio and created their own weird little secret society, recalls Antonoff, not in pursuit of a specific sound, but seeing where the process took them. The beginning of it was throwing paint on the wall, says Soundwave, and it started to form this massive funky West groove that we love because Kendrick and I are from Compton. And in that, I started to realize the people who we should bring in to push it even further, like the Mustards, the Jacks. I was very fortunate to have these friends who are very talented to push it to the next level. 80 to 100 songs. Kendrick was cooking 80 to 100 songs since 2022. Both of these guys there to back him up by his side. Creative geniuses, top of the best, top prime. You know what I mean? Like prime time, basically. You got the best producers that you could look for in pop, in rap, in West Coast sound. And you got together and they made GNX. A secret little world, bro. They wanted to make sure that nobody knew this album existed. And they were successful in doing that because, like I said, nobody knew about this album until it actually dropped. And it dropped instantaneously and spontaneously, bro. Pretty crazy. And finally, narrowing it down to the 12 tracks that we see on GNX. I wonder, what are the dates and times of all of these records? And what songs were made in 2022? When Kendrick was immediately done with Mr. Morale, was he already making songs like this? But to think about it, this album comes out 2 whole years later. It's crazy how they kept it a secret for that long. Amid the swaths of ideas that Mustard would text Lamar directly were 2 instrumentals combined to make TV Off, which went viral on the back of Lamar screaming Mustard's name in the beat switch. Mustard recalls creating the first half of the song in the same month that he produced Not Like Us, and he worked on the second part as an idea for his own album. As with Not Like Us, he heard the completed TV Off for the first time along with the rest of the world. I never asked Jack or Wave who put those 2 beats together, or Kendrick. He says, Soundwave says it's Lamar's idea. I care, but I don't care. I was just like, that was great. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. Not Like Us was created the same time that TV Off was created. He made the beat for 2 of those songs in the same month while working on half of the song for his own album. Half of the beat for TV Off was for him personally. So the date and time for this one is definitely around the birth of Not Like Us, which would be in 2024. What other songs came around that time or what came before that? I think it's interesting, too, how Mustard didn't even know that they were going to use the beat. It feels like these changes were spontaneous, instant, maybe even on the fly if Mustard didn't know, especially if they were taking his own beat, too. That's pretty crazy. It shows that this album kept changing and moving. The parts were moving till the day that it dropped. The GNX magic happened in the studios where Lamar, Antonoff, and Soundwave collaborated, particularly for Luther, one of the biggest hits of 2025. The record is built around a sample of Luther Vandross and Cheryl Lynn in 1982's rendition of If This World Were Mine, a song that Lamar and Soundwave had wanted to flip since 2017's Damn. Luther came together as something of a groupthink exercise. Producer Rosilia sent a pack of beats, Mine for a kick and snare. Soundwave chopped up the sample, M-Tech replayed chords on the piano. Ink came up with the melodies for SZA's part. It was a spiritual experience at Soundwave because of how everybody just fell in. Everything we added was just like the perfect missing piece to that record. They've been wanting to make Luther since the Damn album. They've been wanting to flip that record since 2017, bro, almost a decade ago. Antonoff, for his part, densely laid in bits of guitar and mellotron to build out the world of Luther. If you really listen to the record, obviously Kendrick and SZA are right there and the beats right there and the melody, he says, but there's a lot of stuff dancing around like in between them. I wanted to go overboard with the presentation of how special it could be. I ended up sitting alone for a really long time, carving out all of these little spaces. The meticulous nature of GNX only intensified as the record sped toward completion. Antonoff recalls working on final mixes as late as 4 a.m, just hours before the album's release. Its impact was instantly tangible. Luther held court atop the Billboard Hot 100 for 13 weeks straight, while Not Like Us picked up Grammys for Song and Record of the Year. But for producers who helped bring GNX to life, it signified that taking risks sonically and creatively was the only path forward. Again, another statement that proves that they were working on this album to the very last minute. It basically shows you there's no boundary, says Soundwave. We hate to just keep doing the same thing over and over. It's something we kind of thrive off of. Just reinventing yourself, do stuff that makes it exciting. And the people who supported you will be excited with you. I kid you not, yesterday there was a 60-year-old woman driving in the street rapping a GNX song word for word. Just to see that my home is still playing it as if it just came out, that's special. And yes, it very is special indeed, especially because this album is headed to the Grammys and it might win a Grammy. Without a doubt, I think and I believe that Soundwave is already a Grammy winner. Antonoff, most likely. We'll see how this goes. Mustard, we'll see how this goes. There's been a lot of Grammy talk, and I wouldn't doubt for a second that Kendrick Lamar, GNX, will win a Grammy, at least for Luther, if not the album, maybe for TV Off also, which all have interesting stories. I think those were the most detailed stories in regards to the tracks that they had talked about. But these gentlemen right here have really been working close with Kendrick Lamar, have really been trying to make a mark with this album. I think they really did well. And it shows, the effort shows, the amount of times that this had stayed on the Billboard shows. And it's crazy to think that they were working on this album immediately after Mr. Morale. Now, for what it's worth, I do think that they were working on this album constantly. Things were changing constantly. Things would happen. The beef would happen, or maybe something random in their lives could have happened that influenced them to make a change in the records that they were working on. 80 to 100 songs. Could only imagine if we're going to get more songs on another album from those songs. You have 80 to 100 songs. We only got 12. How many more songs can we get possibly on an album that could come out? That's what I'm most interested in too. Obviously, I'm waiting to see if he's going to drop anything else. But knowing that he has over 80 to 100, think about it. We were talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus 5. This guy got 100 rounds, bro. Y'all tell me how you feel about this and get back to me, man. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video, man. Peace. Keep it legend.